The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over the quiet masjid. The soft sound of the Maghrib adhan echoed through the empty prayer hall. A gentle breeze drifted through the open windows, rustling the edges of the prayer mats. Most of the worshippers had already left after the prayer, except for one young man, Yusuf. Yusuf sat alone in a corner of the masjid, his head bowed and his hands clasped together. His face was pale, and his eyes were red from crying. His heart felt heavy, weighed down by the burdens he could no longer carry alone. Yusuf had once been a successful businessman. He had built his business with honesty and hard work, but life had taken a harsh turn. His business collapsed, and the debts started piling up. One by one, his sources of income dried up. Now, he was drowning in debt, with no way out. Yusuf lifted his head and looked toward the mihrab, his eyes glistening with tears. He took a deep breath and raised his hands in supplication. Ya Allah, I am exhausted. Please make a way for me. Show me a path out of this darkness. Ya Allah, please hear my prayer. His voice trembled as tears streamed down his cheeks. He sat there for a while, lost in his thoughts and prayers. Eventually, he wiped his face, stood up, and slowly walked toward the door. As Yusuf approached the masjid's entrance, an old man walked in. He was dressed in tattered clothes, his face lined with wrinkles, and his eyes held the depth of wisdom. He approached Yusuf, his voice soft and gentle. My son, I saw you praying. Your sorrow is evident. May I speak with you? Yusuf, surprised by the old man's kindness, nodded. They sat together on a bench outside the masjid, under the starlit sky. The old man listened patiently as Yusuf poured out his heart, describing his financial troubles and despair. When Yusuf finished, the old man smiled gently. My son, he said, I understand your pain, but Allah tests those He loves. Have faith and trust in His plan. He then reached into his worn-out bag and pulled out a small leather-bound book. This book contains ancient teachings. It has guided me through many trials. Perhaps it can help you too. Yusuf accepted the book with trembling hands, his heart filled with a glimmer of hope. The old man continued. Remember, my son, true wealth is not measured in gold and silver, but in faith and contentment. Seek help from Allah, and He will provide. The next morning, Yusuf opened the book. He found ancient verses and calming reflections. The wisdom within resonated with him. He started applying the teachings to his life. He sought help from friends and family. He began to look for smaller, more sustainable projects. Slowly, things started to improve. He found a small job, enough to cover his basic needs, and begin to pay off his debts. He never forgot the old man's wisdom and the gift of the book, and he continued to pray, trusting in Allah's plan.